Here she is. She was always proud of me for the Sandlot. She was always like, every time she'd introduce me to people, she'd be like, hey, that's my brother, he's yeah. And she would always, I still remember like visiting her at the rehab center, and she would be able to, hey, that's my brother, the one I told you about. And people would come up and be like, oh, nice to meet you. And she was so proud of that. So I want to make her proud. I mean, this is what I came here to do. Who is Marty York?
Marty York!
Yeah.
Wait, you're yeah?
Yeah.
He's been acting since 1993.
So this is the game room, the trophy room. I got a couple of my baseball cards. This is one of them. And on the back, it's got one of my lines, yeah, he looks pretty crappy. Alan received his nickname because he spontaneously repeated yeah at the beginning of every sentence. Baseball was life for Alan. He was a very skilled player, even though the crew called him a duck because of the way he runs. I still run like that. People may know me from Boy Meets World. Remember this pic? Remember this?
There he is with you. He did 3 or 4 episodes of our show.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's him when he was a little guy and you.
Sliders, Wings, Saved by the Bell, a lot of cartoons, Hey Arnold, but most notably, they probably know me from the movie The Sandlot. Wow, how many signings do I do a year? I'd probably say around the area of about 15 to 20. Yeah, the character has just stuck with me for what now, 3 decades. Marty York, yeah. The challenges of getting into Comic-Cons like this is that, you know, LA is the hub of the entertainment industry. You've got like giant stars. I mean, I've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger at things like this. I've seen, you know, Jason Momoa. A lot of big celebrities are gonna be there. I wanna make a comeback with this.
My name is Lila. I'm Marty's sister. I think a lot of the times, even with people that go into music or film or whatever it is, like there is typically a lot of trauma there, right? Like to kind of be the catalyst to be able to transform that on screen. And so, yeah, I think we definitely, there was more than meets the eye, and there was things like we didn't share because our peers wouldn't understand. So, so yeah, that's probably a misconception, is people thinking like their lives must be great, or, you know, something like that.
Seen a lot as a child. I've seen a lot of drug use, hung out with the wrong kids that stole, kids that did X-rated things in front of me. I did see a lot of things growing up that a lot of kids probably wouldn't see it like around 10 or 11 years old. It affected my mentality a little bit. It affected my outlook on the world, and affected my outlook on what right from wrong. You know, became kind of a bad kid.
I think he's transformed a lot of the pain, and I think for a long time he was kind of living in it, and it was just stagnant, which is a really dangerous thing, right? You got to let it move through you.
Yeah, burnout as a child actor is very common, you know, because you're juggling work, you're juggling your friends, you're juggling school, you're staying up late to finish your homework, you're waking up early to go to school. You're still not at an age where you're able to handle all that stuff yet. So I think I was just completely exhausted by the time I was 17.
How long ago was this?
This was in 1997.
You were 17?
17. And this was like basically at the height of my career when this happened, and a little 2-lane road where we're going right now. So it was this road right here. Should I pull over?
Yeah.
I was at school, I had an audition I had to go to. I was driving to the audition and I was extremely tired. Nodding off, but I kept like waking up, you know, waking myself up. And I was going about 60 miles an hour, and I was driving down a 2-lane road. I don't remember much else except my eyes closing. And when I opened my eyes, I woke up in an emergency room with my leg in traction, basically hanging from a metal pole.
It was really pretty dire at first, where they were telling us like he was in, you know, intensive care, and they were saying at one point he's probably not going to make it, and we had to. It was almost like going to the hospital, like say your goodbyes. I mean, it got really, really bad.
I had a shattered left femur to the point where basically the bone was put like a Tetris puzzle back into my knee. There was so much scar tissue in the back of my knee. I'll never have full flexion in my knee. I can get it to about 90 degrees, my left knee. I have a right partial hip replacement. I have a broken ankle, a lot of metal in my ankle. I had to have extensive nerve damage surgery to repair the nerves in my right foot. I realized I was done once the car accident happened. I lost interest in it just because I was burnt out.
Where are you staying?
Do you really think I'm that stupid?
I haven't decided yet. Why did you come here tonight?
I was just curious to see what kind of imbecile that thought that writing a letter would be such a good idea. I should have known it'd be an American. Good night.
Okay, let's stop. Good. The more vulnerable you are, the more you shine as a masculine man.
Because acting as a kid compared to acting as an adult is different. I mean, first of all, acting as an adult, you have to support yourself because you're not living at home with your parents anymore. So you're not only working at a job all day, but you're working at a job all day, getting off, downloading the lines. Do you really think I'm that stupid? Look, it's not that bad. He values you. Came because I couldn't let my grandmother come on her own. I feel like a British accent would definitely help this. It was a teenage infatuation, a holiday romance. Can you imagine what could have happened if she hadn't seen Sense? Memorizing the lines, and then you're going in and you're doing them in front of a casting director.
Okay. Breathe for a second.
You're driving through traffic, your parents aren't driving you anymore to auditions. There's just a lot more to it as an adult. That's why a lot of adults drop out. Yeah, I think it's definitely tougher as an adult. What's up?
Can you get a picture?
Sure, we'll take a quick one.
Thank you so much.
For sure. Take care, guys.
Turn left, then you'll arrive at your destination.
It changed me. I think it changed me it took a big piece of me. You just can't explain like what it's like to think about your brother or sister being there one moment joking with you, and then the next minute, you know, you're putting your sister in the ground and knowing that you're never gonna see her again. So it took a big piece of me. Because she was a beautiful, smart girl, and she didn't deserve to die like that. Nadia's my little sister that passed away from a heroin overdose when she was 28 years old.
She was a firecracker. She was full of personality, and yeah, she was just could light up a room. Was just, you know, really a magnetic personality. As a kid, like I always was around people that were doing drugs, especially like in Hollywood. It was like the thing, and it never hits home because like I didn't see too many deaths until it started happening, and like my sister's best friend died of drugs. God, I've had so many friends die from drugs, a lot of drug overdoses, and the number one drug is heroin. I've probably had 10, 15 friends die of heroin just in the past like 3 years.
Hi, did they call you?
Yeah, they called.
About me? Okay, good. Thank you. There's 3 of us and a camera.
Yeah, wow, this place is like grown or something. It looks like there's more homes.
Well, I think more people have sponsored.
I was introduced to the tiny homes by my friend Natanya, who was also a 90s child actor.
I was a series regular on The Secret World of Alex Mack. I was in The Babysitters Club, Boy Meets World, Baywatch, Beverly Hills 90210. We talk all the time about just the camaraderie between child actors, like especially now as adults, not something that ever leaves you. Did you move from this one over? Or
No, I've always been.
You've always been in this one?
Yeah.
Went through a lot when she was younger too. She was actually hooked on drugs, and she was living on the streets, living in a tent on the streets. And she introduced me to what she does now. She buys tiny homes for the homeless and gets them off the street and puts them in a place where they feel safe.
So these are all pallets, basically, that start flat. It takes about 45 minutes to build each pallet. People get to get off the street and move into one of these.
She dedicated one of the tiny homes to my sister, to Nadia.
So this one is our special one.
This is the one that's dedicated to the ones we've lost, the ones we've loved.
Yeah.
For him, I hope it ends with, as cliche as it sounds, him finding true peace and happiness. I think he's on that path, and just not letting anything he's been through or that we've been through define him. And with him continuing to act and do what he loves, and transforming a lot of those emotions into these characters that I know he really loves to play.
The funny thing is, like, the director was just like, okay, I want you to just lose your mind when you come up. And I remember I used to watch like Bugs Bunny cartoons, and he'd be like, you know? So I'm like, all right, and it worked. This is what I know I'm meant to do. I feel alive again. I feel an adrenaline rush that I just don't feel with anything else that I've done.
Going from child star to adult, it's like, there's some stuff ingrained in us it's hard. You know, having been through everything Marty's been through, he's like extra hard on himself.
We've spent almost all of our life in the spotlight and being in front of the camera. And when they take that away, you look for other things that make you feel good, because it's a false sense of security. Man, I love you. I love you. I love you, Will. All right.
Hey everyone, Cody Broadway here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the NBCLX YouTube channel. Be sure to click here for more videos, and also click here to subscribe to join the NBCLX community.